Sure, which happens to have about 10 million people watching, well, 10 million homes, even more people in homes. So we're really excited about that, that we're able to do this. And today is a very special day. Today is Dr. Khanna's Returning Youth Month. So, we're here live on the radio, and you can join us, by the way, on WPAT 930 AM and listen to us on audio, as you can see here. So there is an audio link, you can listen, but we're also on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com @Returning Youth, and all of our videos are here. We're actually under the live right now. That's where we are right now, in the live. And we're talking about this special month because here you can see that the National Day Calendar, which is a national organization which designates special days of the month and special months of the year, that they have designated May 4th as Returning Youth Day. And they have designated between May 4th to June 4th, 2024, as Returning Youth Month. And May 4th just happens to be Dr. Surajit Khanna's birthday. May the 4th be with you. May the 4th be with you. It happens to be Star Wars Day, as everybody knows. We're excited about that. And I want to talk just a little bit about what we have going, and people are joining in. We're excited about people joining in here. Returning Youth is about a three-prong approach. And that three-prong approach is simply identifying post-incarcerated at-risk youth before they get in trouble, before they get arrested. Working with at-risk youth as they are incarcerated, and working with them as they come out of the system to make sure they do not get re-incarcerated again, do not get re-arrested again. So it's a complete package that Dr. Khanna has put together, is the Returning Youth. And I did want to show you the Returning Youth website. Here we are at returningyouth.com. It talks about returning, restoring lives, returning dreams. And you know what? When you're incarcerated, you may not have a dream. And we want to be able to give those dreams back to the people that are incarcerated or at risk. So that's what Returning Youth is all about. And the Returning Youth Month from May 4th to June 4th this year is going to be talking about that. Now, I would like very much to, we have Willie joining, we have people joining. I'd very much like to introduce one of our moderators, and I'm going to, and his name is Osiris James. And he's got a very interesting background. Osiris is a dynamic entrepreneur, a business coach, a content creator involved in the digital innovation, deep understanding of evolving marketplaces. He founded a groundbreaking subscription-based online selling marketing platform, showing businesses how to thrive in this digital age. And believe me, it's not easy, it's complicated. People need help. So Osiris is there. He's a driving force between Find Your Boss podcast. He has a YouTube channel, and he has, I love this, Fire Your Boss, You online platform. I'd like to introduce to everybody Osiris James. Osiris?
Okay. So first of all, Gary, thank you so very much for that that introduction. Let me just say hello and welcome to the kickoff of the National Returning Youth Month and Returning Youth Day, recognizing the resilience and the potential of post-incarcerated young adults. I'm Osiris J, and it's always a pleasure and a privilege to get the opportunity to share with anybody. But when you have an opportunity to be involved in something that's about securing the future of the nation's when it comes that's even a little bit more special. So today we're going to be talking about seeding the ground, seeding the soil, and really creating an environment to spread love and really service and really encourage young people to become the best version of themselves. And before I go any further, I want to thank Dr. Khan and his entire team over at the Returning Youth Initiative for the amazing work that they're doing in terms of being the vanguard and the rear guard of this nation's future. I think a lot of times, especially in the environment that we're in right now, we can get lost in all of the chatter that's taking place, and at times when we're paying attention to the chatter, sometimes we overlook some of the most important things. And I believe that when it comes to young people, we might be overlooking some of the things that they need right now, given the fact that we're just coming off the heel of a pandemic that had us locked in our homes for a couple of years. And then in November of 2022, a new intelligence was introduced to the planet. Generative AI kind of like made its public debut. We were always on AI, we just didn't know it. But it's official now. We're young people have a new competitor in the marketplace, and that's on top of everything else that as a society, but also as young people, we're dealing with in terms of being competitive, trying to figure out, what's coming around the corner, how we're going to build our lives, how we're going to raise our families, and how we're going to become the best version of ourselves. All of a sudden, you have something that holds the potential of kind of like wiping out your work future. So there's a lot that's that's in play, that's creating a lot of stress and seeding a lot of doubt, uncertainty, and a lot of fear when it comes to the next generation. So I'm just really excited to be a part of this. I'm excited to be associated with Dr. Khanna and the work that he's doing. Met Dr. Khanna not so long ago, and it's just been amazing. So I'm not going to go say much more. We have an amazing panel lined up, and we're going to have a conversation. I think Dr. Khanna, you said, and Dr. Khanna, I'm saying this for the first time. I haven't said it on any of our calls. Every time I hear press conference, it's like someone scratching their finger down a chalkboard, on Zoom. For me, I'm kind of like a creature of this digital space. So I think more podcasts and I think more. Let's just talk about we have some brilliant people on the panel, and with amazing experience in youth development and faith and thought leadership. And we have Dr. Khanna and the work that he's doing. And one of the first things, my job is to kind of like move this conversation along, and I want to try and make it digestible to some young people, if you will, right? And so I want to just go to Dr. Khanna. I want to know, why do you care so much? Why should anybody care? Why, like the folks who are listening, right? Like, why do they care? We were on a call about a week on Monday, and you said something to me that moved me. You said that you were having this experience of this unease, right? This urgent ease that you had of feeling like you haven't done enough to impact people. And I was moved by your by the depth of your passion and your empathy. Why do you care so much, and why should we care?
Thank you very much, Osiris. Thank you for this wonderful question you asked. I think that opens the platform. But before I start talking about it, I really want to thank all the chosen panel members here. And like you rightly said, Osiris, that these members are really chosen. And I personally handpicked them because I know they contribute to the young population today. And the theme, every year we have a theme we set for the May 4th day and the month, Returning Youth Month. And this year's theme is Seeding Love in Today's Youth. And like you said, that urgency, that's what, this is the urgency. But before we do the seeding, if we take the farming technology, we need to do the soil ready. So today's discussion, because it is the opening day, first day of the Returning Youth Month, we're going to start preparing the soil. And when we are ready, during the course of this month, from May 4th to June 4th, we'll pick a day when we are going to reconvene here in the same platform with more press. Means I would like to have more press coming in, and so that this message can go to several people in this country. Again, I really want to thank the radio station, WPAT, all the audience, those who are listening. And if they have forgotten me, I've been a regular Friday show person for last several years. Only last 2 years, I have not been that regular here, but I really want to thank all the audience in the radio station, those who are listening, the audience of the different homes, those who are listening. I've been hearing that this particular radio station goes way beyond 10 million homes in East Coast. I really thank them. And also, I would like to thank each and every panelist that I chose, starting with Mr. James Landers and his good wife. Both of them have done an amazing job, and they claim themselves as the lifestyle consultant. They are dedicated in helping and discover and develop a vibrant spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial life that changes your world, mainly focused on implementing faith, eliminating doubt. Really want to welcome James. And then we do have one of my very good and chosen person here. Very hard to find him and make him agree to join this type of podcast, but he always supported me on a personal level, professional level, and he has done a lot of impact on the judicial system and also on the young adults' life. And his name is Kevin Allen. Kevin Allen, the reformed sinner, he says, is the host of Kevin Allen Show. He is Connecticut's #1 independent news and op-ed show. If people don't know who Kevin Allen is, please look at his podcast, Kevin Allen Show. This podcast is packed with interviews from fringes of conspiracy debunkers to mainstream politics and million of other economic and social commentary. What makes very unique about Kevin Allen's show is that Kevin personally, since he worked in correctional division as a correctional officer in Connecticut for 21 years, he knows everything that happens inside and outside on the street with the young adults. Not only that, he brings the local crimes, national court cases, unjust politics, everything in the show so that he brings the truth to the people. And that's what is more encouraging, because he was in both sides of the coin. He was a politician. He used to be the Connecticut state representative and the town leader, and also he was the correctional officer. You can't miss it. So I love him. And thank you very much, Kevin, for joining this. I'm sure he's going to give a lot of insight about the young adults, what we are doing. Then we have Mr. Bruce DeFore. He's an amazing person. I met him almost 4 or 5 months or almost 6 months now. He's embarked on his artistic journey at the tender age of 5. He's an artist. If you want to look at his remarkable art, he transpires the art even in the using that to reform the young adults. He engages them, displaying remarkable talent that prompted his parents to enroll him in private art classes. His dedication to his craft led him through a robust educational journey, culminating in not 1, but 3 master's degrees he has: art education, painting, and a master's in fine arts in sculpture. Over the span of 4 decades, Bruce has served as a beacon of inspiration for budding artists, imparting his wisdom as a professor. He did amazing stuff in the art industry, and he helped young people, either they're coming out of jail or they're high-risk individuals, to reform through art. Wonderful person. I really want to thank Bruce to join this panel today. Also, we have Eileen Rosado. I've known her for ages, feels like. She is an amazing, amazing person. Elite master training facility for the cryptotherapy and countering device, master-made aesthetic. Served in the Latin community for 25 years in Wilmington, Delaware, and an elite member of Human Rights Movement for United Nations, and member of ONU. She has been honored the guest of the White House. She has joined us here. She is again into giving chances to all these young adults and high-risk individuals. Last not by the list, we have group of board of directors from National Youth Initiative. We have Clem Iboa, the chairman of the initiative. We have Mike Esmond, director of the Returning Youth Initiative. And we have Rafael Alvarez, who is the executive director of the initiative. And also, as you know, that we have Gary Scarano, who is our leader, regional director for Florida, for Southeast region, and he heads the Florida branch. And also he takes care of a lot of our PR and IT, all this stuff. I really want to thank each of you joining today, and then I'll jump into what Osiris asked me to say, that why I started this. Well, I started looking at the urgency of today's young adults. We all are. We don't pay attention to the need, to the voice of the young people. What a young people goes through if we go back to our age when we were young at that time, it was a different era at that time. We used to try, we used to have an opportunity to thrive. But now, the things have changed over the years, even over few years after pandemic. Post-pandemic, things have changed more, where the young adults, they really lost faith on everything. They lost faith in job, they lost faith in school, they lost faith in housing industry, they lost faith in surviving even. They ask questions, why even I was born? Why I even exist? So that's why when we hear all these things, it is very important that we address these issues. We don't only talk, we should not. The reason I keep on saying that we have this chosen panel members, because these panel members are not the talkers. They're actually doers. Starting from Kevin, Osiris, Claim, Jackie, everybody. We are the doers.
So Dr. Khanna, if I can jump in here for a second, right? Just getting back to, even in the run up to this particular event, you were insisting on focusing on the concept of seeding the soil, right?
Right.
Seeding the soil is about more than just planting seeds. It's about preparing the ground for transformation and growth. In today's context, it means creating the right condition for young adults to thrive, despite facing these challenges that we're talking about, right? So if you guys are listening, and no matter where you guys find yourself, I know the demographic of the audience, the listening audience of this particular station. These are people of God, believers, or folks who are at various stages in their journey of being a believer, right? And so I was having a conversation with Jim. I'd like to bring Jim into this conversation, and he said something to me that I met Jim a couple of nights ago on a call, and they're doing some amazing work. And Jim, if you could share some of the things that you guys are doing out there. But you said something that was interesting. You talked about the fact that some of your allies, folks that some people who are believers, sometimes they have a problem with the fact that you serve the demographic that you serve, in terms of folks who are incarcerated and folks who are trying to get back on the right track. And they're not as supportive as they need to be as believers, right? So I think that we have a disturbance in the faith relative to that. Jim, could you say something about that? Jim, you might be muted, Jim.
Gary, can you unmute him?
Okay, I think he got it. We got you now, Jim.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Osiris, and thank you, Dr. Khanna, for having us be a part of this. And by the way, have a happy month birthday.
Hey, Jim, real quick, Jim, what you have to say, I know it's really, really important. Is there any way we can turn your device up on your end?
The audio up, yeah. Yeah.
So while you're doing that, Jim, you can go ahead. So you were saying?
Okay. Kate and I, we've been pastor and wife of the same church for over 33 years. And we, one day I went to court with did you find it? I'll try and scoot up. Maybe that's a problem.
There you go.
Yeah. And so I went to court one day with a young man. His father was a member of our fellowship, and I went to court with him. and we knew he was just getting sentenced to probation. And so I wasn't too worried about it. The man, I just went for support. But what I saw was amazing. I saw 3 men and 1 woman get sentenced to no less than 20 years in prison. And so I had this fateful moment that I said, God, someone should do something. And he responded back to me, hello, somebody. And so that was the beginning of our journey. I came home and told my wife, I said, I think we should start discipling young men, and especially those released from correctional facilities with drug and alcohol abuse problems. And she said immediately, yes. So for 18 years, we ran a program called Isaac's House, which we named it Isaac because it stood for Instructing Saints All About Christ. And that was the beginning. Well, out of that, we developed a policy. And so when we started really ministering to people out of jail and things like that, even part of our fellowship said, you don't expect those people to come to this church, do you? And we said, well, not all of them, but some of them. And some actually left our fellowship because we entered into that dialogue. And I think it's much like the Pharisee looking over at the tax gatherer and saying, I thank God I'm not like him. And it's so easy for us today to look at the Pharisee and say, well, I thank God I'm not like him. And the whole issue is, what would God have us to do? You know, the Apostle Paul, when he was accosted on the road to Damascus, he's reiterating his experience with King Agrippa. And he said something phenomenal. After he acknowledged who the Lord was, he said, what would you have me to do? I think that's the greatest question we can ask. Because if we don't step in, who will? And that was the whole thing. These people said, give them a Bible, pray for them, but let someone else take care of them. And we are the ones who are to be there to, if you study the Bible, it says we come alongside, unburden the person, get them to where they're stabilized and can work.
Jim, I'm sorry, Jim. I need to jump in here for a second. I think the point that you were making. I think one Dr. Khanna would like to, Dr. Khanna, you have something to say about that. And before you do, the point that what I wanted people to hear was the idea of just give them a Bible and send them on their way, right? And I think people of faith, we have to start asking ourselves, is that enough? Dr. Khanna, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah. What I wanted to comment that trying to put the link between the Returning Youth Initiative that really connects very much with Jim Landis, what he's tried to do, that, how the court system believes in the work that Jim Landis did for 31 years, that is commendable. But also one thing I need to apologize the audience and everybody that in our panel, I don't know why, but because maybe, the person is in a small pigeonhole, I missed her introducing here because she is doing a wonderful, wonderful job connecting these young people, what we do in proper fashion, in a career fashion. And that none other than is Jackie Stevens, who is the co-founder and executive director of Summit Career Center, based in Stevensville, Montana and Missoula, Montana. She is wonderful. She's been a great friend of mine, and she is a believer of how faith works in the young generation. The young generation does not have the capability to understand the larger scope, which you just said, Osiris, that just go to the jail, give him the Bible, and walk away. No, that's not how it works. Even people, those who are on the panel here, Kevin, Claim, Mike, Raphael, all these individuals, they can say that that's not how it works with the young generation. It does not. You got to pinpoint thing and give them some type of testimony that this works. So that's what I wanted to kind of interject, because I forgot to introduce Jackie here. And I really welcome Jackie for this panel discussion. And I'm sure, you add a lot of value to the community, and I love to have you here.
Thank you.
Jackie, did you want to say something? And Jackie, based on the topic of seeding the soil and what Jim just shared relative to faith and believers and the responsibility of service inside of faith, right? Where do you stand on that relative to the work that you're doing right now?
So we create a new community, especially for those coming out of probation and parole and treatment, that kind of thing. They need a whole new community, a whole new family. So in our program, which is a 6-month program, they have to be here on campus 4 days a week, and also back here in the evening for what we call a family gathering. And we pour love into them all the time. We are not only getting them into a new career and teaching them how to do that, but again, the huge important part is walking alongside them and creating new family and new community to which for the rest of their lives, they will be involved with these people that are all walking the path with them. And so, yes, you can't just hand them a Bible, introduce them to Jesus, and then let them go. We've got to walk that road with them.
Yeah, I love that you shared that, because in terms of what you said at the very end there, because I believe it was Gary. I don't know if it was Gary and Dr. Khanna and I. We were talking about, or maybe it was Dr. Khanna and I. We were talking about the fact that if we want to reach young people, for example, I'm working on this new podcast. It's a faith-based podcast. Did a lot of research trying to understand why there's such a disturbance in the faith in terms of the number of people who are not going back, walking into the physical church. But people are worshiping and they're tithing, but it's shifting. It's happening online. And really what's clear is that you can't just lead people. Someone comes to you and they're hungry, right? And and they're hungry for bread, right? That's the first thing that they have to satisfy before we can start talking about their faith. So is there anyone else here on the panel? I know that there's a lot of believers here on the panel. Anybody else want to say anything about this particular subject?
I would like. Who said?
Yeah, me.
Oh, okay. Clem, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, let's look at Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 3. There it says, "For thus says the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, sow not among thorns." Now, these people who are incarcerated have been in a fallow state. They have been following for as long as their sentences last. And now they are coming out. Within them, they have a lot of good things. But we have to break that fallow ground, preparing the seed and the ground, and then taking it to higher levels. So when this initiative started, a lot of the considerations is going to be, how do we facilitate the breaking of the fallow ground? And that's the presence of Rafael Alvarez on this panel is exactly that. One of the things Rafael is doing is helping us to create business ideas business ideas that will facilitate the goodness that is in these young men, the young women, to come out as individual entrepreneurs. They will come into entrepreneurship. Anyway.
Thank you very much, Prem, for bringing that up. And what I would like to see here, you brought up the Jeremiah, chapter, the chapter, and one of the verse of Jeremiah 39 from 11 to 13, it talks about that God has a plan. God has a plan which He wants to give it to us, but you have to earn it. That means you have to call on it.
Yes.
He's not going to just give it to you. You have to call on it. You have to cry. And then He says, I will respond to that. But you have to seek. If you don't know whether God has a plan, then you can seek on it. So the reason I'm telling this, because I'm trying to bring Kevin on spot here so that he can explore a little bit about his journey about God, which he wrote in his bio. I did not bring it because I wanted to hear from him, and I want the audience to hear from him that how he can connect that with the young adults that we are doing it. Kevin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. And, it's so amazing to be on this panel and to see you again.
Thank you.
Do I sound okay? Is everything okay on the volume
yes,
side?
You sound great.
Okay.
And you look
Awesome.
great too.
Thank you. All glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I've been on a humble journey for 54 years. And I say to this panel that I'm so appreciative that we are like-minded, driven by the love of Jesus. And I was not a believer till 52 years of living on this earth. I accepted Christ on my birthday of December 17th of 2022, shortly after I made a decision to kill myself and take my own life. And it took a series of moments in that night and days afterwards where God reached me at the last moment. And it's part of a testimony I get to share across the country, and proudly be able to say that, yes, I was a former correction officer. I was, brought up in a interesting environment growing up that I never really explored how badly I was hurt as a child until after retiring from corrections, getting into politics, and then finding my way to a hemp farm, living off the grid for 9 months without running water and power, finding my journey into podcasting, which I've been doing for about 4 years now. I realized when interviewing Stormy Daniels one day that her being molested and me being molested at 8 years old was something I never thought about in my life prior to that. And of all places and of all guests, Stormy Daniels was that person. And since that moment, it opened up a floodgate of opportunities for me to realize how much I'm grateful for. I retired from the same prison I visited my mom at when I was a child. My mom was incarcerated. And so I retired from that prison, and, I never thought about it. I never talked about it. I hid the secret. It was like a family secret that I came from. But it gave me such an empowerment, and I've dedicated my life to giving back. I've been so fortunate because I'm granted to have a platform and some connections. But I'm working with Freeway Ricky right now on a project with some initiatives towards some, I would say, right in line with this, where it goes to really encouraging entrepreneurship, and especially in social equity settings. And we're working on a project with a couple other partners across the country, in particularly with bringing awareness to youth. I have a reality TV show coming out, which is all hunters, and they are all majority, 90% of the hunters are Black males who live in Columbia, South Carolina. The name of the project is Put Up or Shut Up, All Out Hunting. I'm a co-creator. I'm also one of the folks who will be on the show weekly as we go to reality TV next year. And it's a show about gentlemen that made some bad decisions, went back to the country, got into the community that they came from, and they are starting to give back and traveling the country, bringing different cultures together to really have God lead the way with that project. Has just been amazing. So I would say I don't want to take too long, and I'll be a part of the conversation. I'm just so honored to be here with y'all. And I will tell you that I'm here as God's warrior. And if I'm called to action in any way, it's just to bring love and concern and support to people. I've been in sobriety now for almost 2 years. And that battle that I personally can explain is I used to supervise the offenders that I actually sit down and eat dinner with now. And so my life's been full circle, and I'm just so lucky and blessed by that. I'm really honored to be here and be a part of the conversation today.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so very much for that. Gary, you were reading my mind. I think we need to put, for all of you guys who are listening, I think we need to put this into focus and in context. Gary, you were introduced as the master of numbers, right? Tell us about the numbers. What are we talking about when we're talking about youth incarceration and the recidivism rate?
Thank you very much, Osiris. And I need to point out that Osiris is standing up because he can talk well on his feet. And I don't talk well sitting down or standing up either way. I talk poorly both times. So you're a great speaker, Osiris. Thank you. But I want to talk about specifically what is some of the numbers that are going on in America. And I don't know why I'm gonna have to I'm not showing up here. Anyway, the United States has 5% of the world's population, okay? But we have 25% of the world's prisoners, 25%. So there's more people as a percentage incarcerated in this country than any other country in the world. And that's a very large percentage. And out of those that are incarcerated, we see in the United States, 68% of released prisoners, 68% are re-arrested within 3 years. Okay, so it's a revolving door of people going in and coming out and coming in and coming out. 44% of them return to incarceration within a year. These numbers are way too high. So, is incarceration decreasing crime? And the question is, and the answer is the same. The answer really isn't no, because we know that people go into incarceration and they learn how to be better criminals, unfortunately. There are issues that are facing today's youth, whether they're incarcerated or not. And that they just have a lack of education, a lack of skills. Having a record is a bad mark on their career. It's difficult to get a job. They have a lack of mentorship, bad friends. They need faith-based support groups like we're talking about. And some people need some medical and psychological help. This is why the Return Youth provides what we call a balanced, integrated approach before, during, and after when we're talking about these incarcerated, pre-incarcerated, and post-incarcerated youth, because it's just not a one-stop issue. We have to address the whole person all the way around. So prisoners that participate in education while incarcerated. So now people that are incarcerated that have education programs that we're going to be providing, statistics show they have a 43% less chance of getting rearrested. These are just some of the figures that we have, but this is what shines a light on what Returning Youth is doing and attempting to do to address the reduction of recidivism, the reduction of young people getting arrested. Back to you, Osiris.
Thank you very much. Before Osiris jumps in, I know he's a great speaker here, but I just want to point out that's the reason why I felt that from today, this group that we are here can really validate that we are in an urgent mode. We just cannot keep on saying that, oh, this is somebody else's job. No, these people, I know we are only small people. Out of 365 million population, maybe just like how Osiris said, Gary knows the number. So Gary, you can count how many people are in this panel out of 360 million people. But this panel can make it happen because we have people like God here, not people like, we have the God, we have the superpower. We are all have a faith on the Almighty who can take us to the next extent. Means we have like, means I don't want to ignore Raphael. Raphael, you are the executive director of the initiative, and you've been working with me, and you saw my passion. Don't you think that we are in an urgent mode, that we got to take this, make this young people, especially those who are listening to this radio today, we are focused between the age of 18 and 30. And I say it with commending because that's the age that needs proper microscopic attention. They need to be mentored properly, get the foundation properly, so that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know, Osiris, you can ask, Raphael. Raphael is a wonderful individual, came in his young age to this country. He and I do have Eileen Rosato, both of them coming from the Latin background. They have seen what is needed with this young generation in their community. So you want to put both of them to share some of their thoughts about this.
Absolutely. And Raphael, right before we get to you, Raphael, I want to say to the folks who are listening, because it's the sub title for this particular event is urgent action, right? So for those of you guys who are listening, we want to make an urgent appeal, a request to you guys to get in action, get off the couch, right? There's so many things that we can do. Reflect on your faith, on your values, and your sense of responsibility, and ask yourself, right? What can I do to make a difference? Are you doing enough, right? Let's turn our beliefs into tangible action. Let's reach out. Let's support and empower youth. And it doesn't have to be this organization, right? It doesn't have to be any of this, right? It could be just take somebody fishing, right? Go to the basketball court. That kid on the far end of the court that nobody's playing with, he wants to play, but he can't even get the ball up. Help him get the ball up. Like, do something, right? And if you feel so inclined and you're getting any value out of this episode, this event, I'm going to ask you guys to find a way to make a donation that's proportional to the value that you think that you're getting, right? And I think Gary or maybe Dr. Khanna, I don't know. I know that there's a link on the website someplace that people who can actually go and make a donation. If you could share that link, Gary, that would be awesome. Or if you could just share where to find that link, or maybe Raphael, you know about that. So I just wanted to say that because I think there's so much value that's being added here, right? And I say value, and sometimes people miss it because people don't mentor sometimes because they think that they're going to lose something in the mentoring relationship. But I'm saying, want somebody out there have a child, or you might have a child or a grandchild that's going to need the support that we're talking about. So Raphael, I'm just going to segue to you. I just wanted to make that appeal because we don't want to step over how important that is.
Osiris, I just want to let you know on the screen is the website where you can support our mission. You click on that and you click on contribute to the cause there.
Could you just give them the domain and the address for that?
returningyouth.com/donate. returningyouth.com/donate.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that. .org/donors. All right.
Dot com. Thank you.
.com/donors. Let's bring up.
Done. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sure that if you go to the website, you will be able to find a button there that will guide you and tell you how you can donate to the organization.
Yes, thank you.
Well said. Well said. First of all, Dr. Khanna, once again, thank you very much for getting me involved and be part of this great organization and be able to contribute in a positive way to the community. The topic of today's presentation basically is about how we can take actions, and this brings me back a lot of memories, because I remember when I used to be involved in my community in Washington Heights. I grew in a very tough neighborhood in northern Manhattan, and I remember literally going corner by corner, picking up kids that were high school dropout, and they literally have no future, just selling drugs in the corners. And I literally was able to pick them up, put them in an educational program that I created in Washington Heights. And now I get so much satisfaction when I bump into one of them now, that they are nurses, they are teachers, they are police officers, they are professional, thanks to that initiative. I see something similar happen with this great initiative created by Dr. Khanna. If we are able to really go and work hard in really taking this post-incarcerated young kids and be able to provide them the tools, because that's really what they need, the tool, the support, so they can really turn their life around 360 degrees. And this is what I have been proposing and what I have been really working my line of business. And those of you that don't know me, I'm into franchising. I'm the first Latino that established a franchise many years ago, and now I own multiple brands. And I feel, and I still insist, that if we're able to take these young kids and being able to teach them skills, a profession that they can turn their life around, I'm sure that we all will find the same satisfaction that I have when I walk on the street of Manhattan or Brooklyn or Queens and I bump to one of these young kids. Think about 10, 15 years in the future when some of those lives are able to be turned around, and these are successful business young men or women, that now they are able to really help others the way we were able to help them. I think that's what we do. Just tell me what needs to get done, guys. I'm waiting. I'm ready. I really built. And Clint knows about this. Dr. Khanna knows about this. I have been working the last few years, also figured out a way to establish a platform that we can really help these young kids and put them in a program, accelerated program, so they can really become successful and become successful business owners.
What do you think, Eileen? You want to add something to it?
Absolutely. I want to add that, I want to thank you, Dr. Khanna, for having us here today, all of us. And one thing that all of us have in common is love, because seeding the soil without love wouldn't be possible. But love, I believe that we all have that passion and that love that we need to have in order to get these young adults through life. And I want to say that, hold on.
I just want to let everybody know we have about 4.5 minutes left.
Oh, you have 4.5 minutes left. One of these things could be through education and awareness. The other one would be through youth, lead the youth initiative, through mentorship and role models. The other one could be nature and connections, art and expression. And these are just a few that we can incorporate to lead them through a good path. And somebody else wants to say something else?
Well, yeah, since
do.
you brought up about the art and thing, I think we definitely need to hear from Bruce DeFore, who is an art expert and been waiting to, spill out exactly how this art could help the young adults to transform.
Okay. So let me say this. I'm not going to speak too much about the art. We have a whole month where we can develop. We're starting with breaking that soil. So the first thing I want to do is follow with what Osiris said. He's sending out a challenge, and I want to challenge people. I'm not so much about talk. First of all, I'm 69 years old. The older I get, the more urgent I get, because you know what? The Lord said, he's mapped out all of our good works before we were even born. I don't want to die with good works still left in me. And so we're about turning the soil, preparing the soil. So I brought my wife's little shovel.
Look at
right?
that.
I brought her work gloves. My wife loves to garden, right? We need to think in terms of realness. We need to think in terms of, let's do something other than talk. So what I'm doing right now is really not talking to this group. I want to talk to the people who are listening, especially people, seniors, maybe my age, who say, you know what? I've been living really for myself and my family. I looked up a scripture. I know that Jim would know this scripture, and most of you will. We tend to only give to ourselves and to our family. We take really good care of our family and ourselves. But in Luke 6:32, it says, if you love those who love you, what credit is it to you? Even sinners love those who love them. So I don't think we're going to get a lot of credit from the Lord by just loving people around us. We've got to take that love to the community, right? So Osiris is right. Dr. Khanna is right. I'm sending out a challenge. If you're sitting there listening to this and you're inspired in any way, I'm just going to ask you to pray when this is over and find a way to join with us. If you don't have a better thing, I can tell you that this is a better thing. If you can do it on your own and go, like Osiris said, and just help that individual on the basketball court or fishing, go to it. But if you are kind of lost saying, look, I know I have time, I know I have something left to do, I want to do it, then join with Dr. Khanna. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for Jim. I think I love the way you are kind of wrapping up this roundtable action. And that's why I like the action thing. We have to do the urgent action. And folks, those who are listening, the panel members that, again, I'm keep on repeating myself, the panel members I chose, they're not just talkers. They are doers. Each and every person here in this panel, they have done it, and it is proven. It is a proven technology that we are the group which
Thank you,
can
Dr.
do
Khanna.
things.
Just want to say 5 seconds, we're off the road. Please go to us at returningyouth.com, returningyouth.com. We are off the air, but we can continue on YouTube. Dr. Khanna, I apologize for interrupting, but we are still live on YouTube. We're no longer on the radio. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for Gary for giving us the connection to the radio. I know it definitely impacted, but this YouTube, the video that will be available on the internet, but in closer, what we should do is, I love the way Bruce kind of put the challenge in here. So we got to take an action which will definitely lead us for the whole month. Like I said, that the seeding love in today's youth, this seeding love today's youth came from a verse. It was from, if either Bruce or Jim, you can jump in. I forgot it is John 6 or John 16, which talks about love. That love is God, and God is the one who gives the love. If we identify love properly and give this love to these young people, then they will definitely change. And this is not just talk. This is somebody like Jim Landis, who has done this for 31 years, not 1 year, not 2 years, 31 years. He goes to the judge in front of the court, and he tells the judge that, yes, this young person can be reformed. How? Now, by love, because the faith he has on the Lord, that tells us. So today's platform, which we are trying to implement is a month-long platform. We are doing it. I'm glad that Bruce brought the shovel and the gloves. I think all of you, those who are listening to it, please help us as a team. I cannot do it by myself. I need a team, but the team can make this happen. How many disciples did Jesus have? Only 12. Why? Why couldn't he make every single person in this world, in this earth, disciple? Well, there's a reason behind it. Because he only chose 12 because every 12 people has to do something. Each of them 12 has to go and give this love of God to everybody. And this is exactly what I am trying to do here by putting this panel together. Each of us have long way to go, but time is the essence. Lastly, I would like to end by saying this. We can do it. The way the whole world was shut down because of COVID. We were looking at COVID virus, then we started having vaccines. So I'm going to take that as an example that if we can do this for negative things, COVID virus was a negative thing. All we are lacking is love virus. Why can't we shut down the whole world and re-implement the love vaccine? If we inject love vaccine, then after 3 months, and Jim has a program called 21 days, but these 3 months, we can bring back the solution from the young people. The young people are disheartened today.
Dr. Khanna, I'd like to ask a quick question, right? And you're touching on it, but I'm wondering if you could just bring it a little bit more in a focus before we close. What are some key policy changes or advocacy efforts needed to create more supportive environments around these, this initiative? This is a political year, right? It's kind of like the time for these conversations to be pushed in that way. And the one question that I wanted to ask the panel that we didn't have time to, what the role of technology is so important. I remember 10 years ago, I started Urban Mentor, right? And 10 years, or maybe it was a little bit longer than that, right? Where we are now, everything that we wanted to do that cost so much money back then, it's all possible now. So what are some key policy agendas that you would like to see happen around this?
Very, very good question. And as you know, that I'm not a political person, but somehow or other, I think we lost Kevin here, who would be a right candidate to talk about the politics. But here, what I think, and Jackie can inject because Jackie has a lot of knowledge about some of the policy changes and advocacy efforts that needs to be done here. And we always, when we meet, we always talk on the phone, we kind of bring up this type of conversation. But the important part is here, it's not about policy changes. It's not about political or judicial policy changes. It is about understanding what challenges, personal challenge, this young person goes through, starting from the birth till their life progresses. We have a tendency in the society to push them, to give them that, okay, you should do this. You should go to school in order to do this. The curriculum, means the constitution of this country was founded based on the biblical values by the founding fathers. The 10 commandments were implemented in this Bill of Rights. And the Supreme Court, and I'm sorry I'm bringing this up here, the Supreme Court is supposed to police the implementation and execution of this Constitution of United States. But that's not being done. We are too busy in changing policies. We're too busy in advocating the young people what to do. No, the advocacy change, what I would like to see in this country is that the Constitution that was founded should be godly. It has godly values in it. We need to bring that inside. We need to implement this. We need to make our young people understand the value. What we did was, in years, we took God out of the equation. Because of that, we are thinking of the question you just asked. I know the question is very important, that what type of policy changes? Well, you know what? This question is not valuable to a young person. Go and ask this question to a young person. He's not going to say. He said, what policy you're talking about? I was not given a policy. I did not know even how to earn money. I do not know what I'm going to do the next time. I don't have a father. I don't have a mother, or I don't have anybody. I'm been left alone here. So these are the things which we need to address first. And you rightly said, this is a political year. The United States of America is trying to choose the right president, the right leader. But all I can say is the leader has to come down to the grassroots and talk to these people, those who are facing these challenges, not the policymakers. That's all I can say. I don't know if I have another policy person who really loves to chime in, would be, Claim,
Yeah.
and I know he knew that I was going to put him on spot on that. So, Claim, you want to add something on it?
Well, you see, this organization is about doing what is right to our neighbor. Love that neighbor as yourself. It's more, we are more focused, and we ought to be focused on the ground swell of building it up neighbor to neighbor. So helping that boy on the basketball court, helping somebody else, the neighborhood, those are the things that we are focused on. Eventually, once there is sufficient of us doing this, then there will be the groundswell to change the political agenda, to change the political view of what these things are. We are collectively people of faith. So when we look at what it says in Proverbs 13, verse 23, it says, much food is in the fallow ground of the poor, and for lack of justice, there is waste. See, much food is in the fallow ground of the poor, but for the lack of justice, there is waste. We need collectively to see these individuals as being able to contribute to society. And so we need to work on making it possible for them to contribute to society. Once we get that going, then we can talk about changing the political landscape, changing the policy landscape, changing the other things. Right now, we need to put the shovel to the soil and make sure that they, as who are coming in, are being we are molding them so that they can contribute to society. That's our political view right now. And what we are going to do is to use technology, using a database and AI and other technologies, having the ability to reach someone in Kentucky, reach someone in Iowa, reach someone in Montana, reach someone in New Hampshire, without us having a physical brick and mortar location in that place. That's what we are going to try to do, using our website and having people log in and register, and so that we are able to connect with them and be able to do things through these technologies that we have. This is a new. You were talking about the youth. We need to teach them how to use the technology. You're talking about the over 65ers. We need to teach them how to use the technology so that we can all work in that space. And that is one of the major focuses that we have. We're going to try to do this as smoothly and as evenly as possible.
Thank you very much, Clem, for jumping in and talking about this technology and also about the policy change. But before we hand over to Osiris again, I would love to hear from Jackie in regards to this question that was asked to me about the policy changes and advocacy efforts that needs to happen.
We were a nation created under God. We have to return to that. We were set up with a constitution that, like you said, that needs to be followed. That needs to be implemented. That's what we must get back to. We cannot go anywhere. We cannot go anywhere forward with the grace that we need to until we get back to that place, that grassroots place. And so many of our young people have no idea what that is. They really do not. So we've got to teach them that. We've got to implement that. These young people that come to us have no confidence. They have no idea of their own capabilities, their God-given capabilities, which is what we do. We really work with, assess, and find out their God-given capabilities and then get them into careers utilizing those. They have no confidence. They've had no one who believes in them. So pouring love on them and telling them that we believe in them, that, you know, they are beautiful people that God has created and they all have a purpose. And again, getting back to this is what our nation was created with and upon. And we've got to return to that.
No, thank you very much, Jackie. And coming back to Osiris again, I hope I did not sway to your answer, to your question too much, but I just wanted to bring the focus back that why we are here, what is the thing we are giving to the community and what we want. And like Bruce said, the challenge, I think all of us needs to challenge each other and our neighbor that, hey, let's roll the sleeves, let's come together and let's make this happen. And if we can make it happen, we just cannot depend upon, the political leaders or the judicial leaders. No, we as a civilians, we can make this happen.
So, I absolutely believe in that. And, Jackie, thank you for, your contribution, short, sweet, and so on point. Did we hear from Willie? And who have we not heard from?
We haven't heard from Willie.
Yeah. I just enjoyed the program, and I think it's meaningful. And we gotta show love one to another for us to get things to become better for us all. And I thank you, Dr. Khanna. Thank you very much for putting on the program and being strong the way you are and making things happen. I really thank you. Thank you.
And I just want to point out that this radio show would not have been possible without Willie Sanders. So thank you so much, Willie.
You want to mute Willie back, and also I think we have a young adult here in this group of I'm not saying that we all are not young. We all are young too, but we have one of our young talented person who kind of joined us today, all the way from North Carolina, Cheyenne. And would you like to, I just invited her to listen to this podcast to see what she feels and what kind of comments she can make that really this type of program is going to help the community to uplift, empower the young adults. Cheyenne, would you mind chiming in a little bit? She's in mute. Can you unmute her?
I'm trying. I'm asking her, but it's not working. I'm sorry.
Cheyenne,
if it works, please let us know. Just jump in. Go on to the next person. We're having a little difficulty with her.
Dr. Khanna, I think something needs to be made clear. I think there are a lot of people in the audience who would say that they might have some trepidation or fear of working with post-incarcerated people, okay? But there's a place for everyone here. And Dr. Khanna, would you talk about the fact that you deal with many different kinds of people? Would you list those sorts of folks who need help?
Well, I cannot list a lot of people that we the names, but we do list. We do advocate, and we do bring to our program a lot of different types of individuals. Either they come as a financially challenged or socially challenged, or they're having some type of difficulties finding jobs or reforming themselves. So all the different type of things happens, so in different parts of the country, we have been facing those, especially in Montana, in Florida, in Pennsylvania. We had a lot of success stories, and this is, means right now it is not, means if people wants to really know about the success stories, they could always come and talk to us. And but thanks for bringing that up. And I think we have somebody join,
Dr. Eduardo.
Dr. Eduardo. He's a great friend of mine, and he's actually traveling and he's joining international right now. But he's a great supporter of the Spanish community, of the Latino community in for the young generations. So I don't know, Eduardo, you would like to add something about how we can help to restructure or help these young people to be in a system that can help?
Hi everyone, a pleasure. Just reporting, I just landed today in India. But yes, it's a very exciting opportunity that we all have to assist, help, and provide an opportunity for people who come from that background that they can normally integrate into the society. It's just a matter of creating the environment and the space and the opportunity so they can get the hope they need and they can get back on track. Everybody, I'm a believer that all of us, we need a second chance in life in many areas, and we got the opportunity, and we should always share and give that opportunity to other people who need it. So I'm very excited with this program. I've been following Dr. Khanna for many years, and I have been seeing all the development and how he has been done for the youth. So I'm full on in this program.
Thank you.
All right, Eduardo, thank you for that. And yeah, absolutely. I think the question of diversity is always one of those questions that that doesn't always seem to get addressed the way that it needs to get addressed. But it is the present and the future of this great nation. So thank you for bringing that to the table, Eduardo. I wanted to I'm kind of I'm getting to understand Dr. Khanna and how he moves and how he works and the initiative and I've been kind of like doing a deep dive, looking at the website, looking at the content, and really communicating with Dr. Khanna pretty much every day just to try and get a sense of what's needed now to kind of like move the ball. And one of the couple of days ago, we were having a conversation around. I went back and looked at the kickoff last year, and that was a great event, right? Like, you know, but we talked about the fact that some things kind of stalled in terms of momentum after that particular event. We don't want that to happen after this engagement. So we should talk about, Dr. Khanna, what are some of the next steps that you would like to see, and how do you want folks who are on this panel to kind of like engage those next steps and engage their networks and you know, so that we can start building the type of momentum that we would like to see. So, for example, you know, just to the conversation of jobs, and every time that it's mentioned, right, I get this like little butterfly inside, right? I get a little, I'm tickled inside because I spend a lot of time kind of like building technologies and building systems. Really, you know, we're curating a platform right now that's in beta. SB1 beta is in beta, and it's a platform that is like meticulously curated, and it's perfect for the post-pandemic economy. And I think it's a perfect jobs creation platform that we can implement tomorrow if with the right folks, right? So that's something that I'd really like to have some more conversations and discussions with you about, Dr. Khanna, because I think at the end of the day, it's like if we don't quench the thirst and satisfy the hunger first, we can't really understand who Christ is, right? Like it's really hard to get there. So what are some of the next steps that you'd like to see, Dr. Khanna?
Well, thank you very much, Osiris, for kind of wrapping up the session by saying what are the next steps. But like I said, I might have started this initiative, but I have my whole group, which like I said, I handpicked to be on this particular panel discussion because I want all of us to answer that question. What is the next step we should be looking at? Thinking of what is the urgency. And I gave you already the analogy of COVID and the COVID vaccine. So what should we do that this type of discussion becomes more effective to not only the audience, our end user? Let's identify, let's talk. Who is the end user here we're talking about? The end user we're talking about is between the age group of 18 and 30. They're the end user. But who is talking here? We are not between 18 and 30. We are the people, those who have faced and gone through this age, and we know what to be done and what should not be done. So we have a life experience. We want to share that to the end user. But who is the audience here? The audience is also the elderly population. But what message, like Bruce gave, I love the way Bruce said, I don't want to talk, I want to challenge. I want to challenge so that people can come and do something here. So I would like every panel members here, one by one, take 30 seconds, not more than 30 seconds. What comes top of your head, say, what is the next step we should be saying? We said, because we all understand faith is here. This is nothing but faith. We got to have faith on the Almighty. Without God, nothing happens. We know that. But that's not what we need to focus right now. We need to focus what is the next step that should be given to the end user so that the end user can start marching in this platform that we just created for this year. Is a very vital year for United States. Very vital year. But in this year, are we including the end user? This is the problem. The person who is going to be the leader, how much is he focusing or she is focusing on the end user? I think I'm going to kind of open up this, give everybody 30 seconds so that they can come and talk to us and say, okay, I want the audience to listen from them, not from me. I created the platform. And without your help, I cannot march. I cannot do things. I'm ready to do the groundwork with the shovel and the gloves. I don't need gloves even. Without gloves also I can do it. But starting from Gary,
Yes.
I'm going to go with the thing. We can say 30 seconds. What do you think should be the next step?
Well, I think there's a great saying in Christendom that says, "Each one win one," and I think it starts with just doing a simple thing. We don't have to make it complicated. Find someone that needs help and start to help them. Hook them into the Returning Youth Initiative, and also ask people who are not at risk to help them. And I think that's just getting on the phone, sending an email. As you know, I do a national blog. These are all things that are available. Thank you.
Claim.
Yeah, the concept of each one reach one is what I agree with Gary. That's the best way to go right now. And it doesn't matter where that person you're reaching is. You may be in Alaska and the person may be in Florida, but reach out to somebody and see how you can impact their lives and introduce them to returning youth.
Thank you very much, Clem. Rafael.
I totally agree also with Gary and Clem. I mean, at the end of the day, and I hear also what Bruce is talking about. I mean, no one can say it better than him. It's all about taking actions. It's all about really, getting results. And the only way that we can do this is if all collectively, one way or another, we all chip in and put whatever it would take to really at least start helping one. Let's figure out a way how we can take one, post-incarcerated person and take it to the point, and getting the results that we want them to get, and then replicate the model. That's really what I see. I mean, we have multiple meetings, we have multiple conversations about doing it. In terms of contributing, I mean, I'm willing to put energy, time, efforts, resources, money, whatever it takes for us to really get this thing and really implement it and make it happen, because nothing speaks louder. I mean, we can say whatever, we can talk and talk and talk, but at the end of the day, results speak louder than anything else. I would like to see some serious results, whether it is implementing what Osiris, I mean, in Espanol, Osiris, we say Osiris, you say Osiris. Like Osiris says, I mean, he has a great app.
Osiris, tomato.
Okay, all right. So at the end of the day, he has a great app that perhaps that can be the one, whatever it is that we feel like we need to get it, implement, put it in practice, and really help this post-incarcerated person is what I'm willing to be part of. I mean, if I don't see that happen, then if I don't see the energy or the know-how or people really willing and ready to do this, then I don't want to be part of it. I'm ready to make something happen. And I feel like we've been saying it. I feel like we can do this, but we need to obviously, figure out a way how to really get the work done and make it happen.
Thank you, Rafael, for this next step. Bruce, what do you think the next step should be?
Before you say, Osiris, can you share your app information with Gary so he can share it with us?
I would like to see it too. I would like to take a peek.
Yeah,
we're still developing some things on the app, right? I think what would be a great idea, I would say, in a week or so, we could set up a demo, and I can walk you guys through a demo.
That's fine.
Thank you, Bruce.
Okay, so being an artist, I know that everyone has a certain creativity inside them. Many people would say, oh, I'm not an artist. Well, it doesn't matter. You have gifts that the Lord's given you. So the answer is, we're not trying to make you something that you aren't. God has given you specific talents. All we're asking is that you share those talents. And that's the way you build something. You know, if you ask me to help with facts and figures, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But every single person out there, I feel like I'm looking through the lens and I'm seeing people in their homes listening to this right now. And I see shut-ins, I see elderly, I see even youth that say, what can I do? But you all have a fire in you, but you're not letting it show. What did the Lord say about, letting that light show, not hiding it under a bush? You have got to start, we've got to start thinking of others, like I said before, start thinking of others. And so use that creativity. One more thing, the Lord said, I think people think it's too hard. I don't want to take something else on. I'm doing so much. Okay, God said his burden is light. We are supposed to be in the yoke with him. He's pulling the biggest part of the load. All we have to do is join with him, do what he asks us to do, which is to put our head in that yoke and work with him. And then what does he say? His burden is light. We all carry burdens. I choose his light burden.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Jim, what do you think the next step should be?
Well, I think is my mic any better now?
Yes.
Yes, it's good.
Okay. I think we've talked about the parable of the four soils, and each subject matter that's been talked about, we have to envelop that. The break up the fallow ground is the brother shared on that. The second ground is the rocky ground. And the people, especially post-incarceration, they have so much persecution, they have to learn how to deal with that. The third type of soil is the desires and that's the weeds and thorns that choke it out. But then there's the fourth soil, 160 and 30 fold. That's where we are, and that's how you got to do it, whether it be in those that are working for the business, whether it's in those that were working for spiritual. It's Proverbs 23:7 says, as a person thinks within themselves, so they are. So we have got to find out how to communicate to people. Their value was brought up already, and the focal point of you can transform yourself through these processes. So let us help you.
Thank you very much. I really like your comment on that, of the different type of soils. I think that's what we need to focus on as the next step. Jackie.
We need to become Christ's love in action. We need to be his hands and feet. So reach out to others that need help, mentor them, get involved in their lives, walk alongside them, help them become confident, just pour into them. That's what we all need to do. We need to act on it, not just talk about it, but to actually act on it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Eileen.
Yes. Well, I'm going to give each one of you an assignment, because we're talking here about doing something. I would like to propose something. I would like to say to each one of us, build a plan. And then implement that plan. Share it with us first. Between all of us can get ideas on how to implement that plan and take it to practice, to do something with it.
Perfect. I think you really hit the nail right on the place. Last but not the least, well, no, I wouldn't say last. Right before last, Eduardo, who what do you think the next step should be as a team we can do or should do?
I mean, what I was thinking by hearing all your wonderful comments and echoing some of you, like I believe that one of the first steps in order to create a proper plan is to do a research and understanding of the needs by, being your understanding in the specific needs and challenge that, people are facing, engage with local nonprofit, community groups, and correctional facilities to gather more insights. And when we understand the needs of these people, it's more easy to go to the next step that I will personally see going is to develop a program framework based on data that we understand, okay, these are the needs, and we develop a comprehensive program that can address key areas like education, employment, mental health, and social reintegration. That's how I structured in my mind by listening to all the topics that you were mentioning.
Thank you very much, Eduardo, for highlighting that. Do you think, Osiris, you want to chime in and talk about, in 30 seconds, what would you like to see? What would be the next step?
Yes. Quickly, I think consistent and persistent content that's curated and directed, and a marketing plan, right? With a fundraising strategy built in, right? And an online conference, an online jobs creation and jobs conference at the end of the year. I think those, yeah, I think that would put a lot of focus, things into a lot of focus, and those are things that all of the resources and capability to execute exist right now amongst the folks who are on this panel.
Thank you again, Osiris, for highlighting that. I'll give back the entire roundtable discussion to Gary, and I really want to thank each and all of you, especially Gary, to make this possible, connecting us to the world through the radio station. And I love it. This is the right way to start the March madness. People normally say March Madness. We are May Madness. So, we can start this journey. And I like what Eileen said. Let's put a plan together and let's work on it, because we have only 30 days left, and it starts from tomorrow, May 4th. Let's reconvene again after putting this plan together. We can individually work. This is the group who can make it happen. And again, thank you, Gary.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined here, especially on this YouTube and radio and Zoom call. We love technology to get the word out, and we've all heard what we should be doing. But let's remember, tomorrow's Dr. Khanna's birthday. Happy birthday, Dr. Khanna. And tomorrow is the beginning of
You're breaking up. Gary, you're breaking up. We can't hear you.
He's having connectivity issues.
Oh.
Everybody else, Jacqueline, Eileen. So we thank you very much. I guess, unfortunately, Osiris got knocked out somehow. He's coming back in. Thank you, Osiris. I'm sorry you got knocked out, but we're all done here. We'll let you know what the next step is. God bless you. Just remember, this is faith-based. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. God bless you all. And